The new AARo director, Jon Kososki, is trying to be a little bit more transparent with the regular, everyday folk, if you will. Seems like he wants to have more relationship with, and or at least have whistleblowers feel more confident in AARo. And he also has a very open mind about alien visitation, which you cannot say about Sean Kirkpatrick, who was in the seat before him. Sean Kirkpatrick, very controversial figure that many whistleblowers don't believe. He was caught lying many different times, and didn't and seemed to be more combative and aggressive towards people who wanted to get the answers of certain things, as opposed to trying to help them, which is ultimately supposed to be what that job is. So he was the wrong person for the job. And if you ask the majority of people, they don't. I mean, even people who seem to be on his side were calling him out and catching him in lies. So that being said, let me read you this article about what the new guy says. The U.S. government top UFO scientist has an open mind about alien visitation. Have you ever seen something inexplicable in the sky? Jon Kososki, director of AARo, wants to hear from you. Now, this is, by the way, this is footage from Puerto Rico in 2013 that is on this particular site that AARo is showing. Whether captured in declassified military footage or in a smartphone video uploaded to social media, UFOs are swarming Earth's skies and demonstrating capabilities so astonishing that they must represent technologies that are advanced beyond any available on Earth. Clearly, these sightings point to the involvement of space aliens, or perhaps just a global cabal of nefarious humans with ultra spiffy, above top secret flying machines that routinely break the known laws of physics. At least that's what modern day folklore would have you believe, no matter how many times skeptics convincingly debunk sensational UFO sightings as mere misidentifications of conventional aircraft, sensor artifacts, or natural phenomenon. Regardless of what one person believes all about this, what's certain is that claims of mysterious trespassers in American airspace are taken very seriously by the U.S. government for reasons of national security. That's why, at Congress's behest, the U.S. Department of Defense established its AARo in July 2022. This office investigates reports of UFOs under the more generic rebranding of unidentified anomalous phenomenon. AARo's work, however, isn't really about chasing down extraterrestrial invaders so much as it involves standardizing report methods, curating and analyzing data sets, and assessing possible threats posed by UAPs. Think less Men in Black and more Pentagon desk jockeys with advanced degrees and highly classified resumes. The office's current director, Jon Kososki, who took over in August 2024 after the departure of his predecessor, Sean Kirkpatrick, in December 2023, is a good example of the archetype. His professional past is punctured by national security agency research in networking and computing, optical light communications, cryptography, as well as his invention of an advanced language agnostic search engine for the DoD. Kososki spoke with Scientific American about his vision and agenda for AARo, and of course his thoughts on the extraterrestrial hypothesis for unexplained UAPs. They asked a bunch of questions here, and he said, what milestones and directions do you and AARo foresee as you assess the UAP situation? He says, we have a lot going on in the office. We're working diligently to make our AARo website available to the public so they can report an incident. We want to have a semi-automatic processing chain to quickly bring those cases in and then look for correlations with other cases from government sources. We're also working on machine learning and artificial intelligence tools so that we can look for correlations at a larger scale. AARO is also looking for a better utilization of the whole fabric of U.S. government sensors that are available. That'll help our case resolutions, but it also poses the potential change of looking at an awful lot of data. A last big push for increased transparency to find more efficient ways to share information with the public and the scientific community to help us in some of our investigations. Standardizing the UAP data is an incentive to make it better suited for data science. As we do that, we'd like to have both the raw data as well as post-processing data available to as wide of an audience as possible. But we need to respect the sensitivities of the sources and methods used to gather that data. He's asked then about last November testifying before the Senate Committee on Armed Services on Emerging Threats and Capabilities. One point that he raised was the importance of removing the stigma of reporting a UAP event. And they said, what is that still? And he talks about how it's been diminished and that a little bit, because there's, as we talked about many times over the last couple of videos here, the stigma seems to be dying down a little bit. AARo has reportedly deployed the Gremlin system, a multi-sensor network system for detecting, tracking, and characterizing UAPs in an undisclosed location. He gives an update on that and says that they'll be swapping in and out new sensors and algorithms for various approaches. We want to document what we learn and share with the public and other organizations inside the government. And this is an interesting one, too. He's asked UFO groups continually demand full disclosure, by which they mean more than transparent data shading, namely the full disclosure of putative secret evidence that Earth has been visited by some form of alien intelligence. For AARo, if you come up with a head scratcher of an unknown phenomenon, how would you disclose that fact? There are two things that we have to consider. One is the owner of the data. We would need to work with the data owner to make sure that we are not revealing sensitive information about sources and methods. But putting that aside, there is nothing inherently classified about an anomalous event or phenomenon. So we would work with our leadership to document that, while study it, and then produce a product that can be shared widely with the community. There is no inherent reason why we would sit on these anomalies if we did come across something truly perplexing. Given that many full disclosure advocates would insist that the absence of evidence for alien visitation just further confirmed a government cover-up, it seemed like any push you could make for transparency as leader of AARo would in some respect be doomed to failure. Why take on the assignment? He said, I love difficult science challenges in general. I like the chase of trying to understand the mystery and solving puzzles. UAPs, by their very nature, are rare events. The data acquisition is difficult, and there's a sensor design challenge. I think getting the data we need has been somewhat neglected. He's asked, is it really accurate to say that you've been transparent while also dealing with sensitive classified data? And he said, it's a challenge. AARo should be as transparent as possible, and we are working in that direction. At the same time, we have to respect the sensitivities of the sources and methods used to gather the information that is relevant to UAPs. Ultimately, we are working with our partners to release as much information as possible about the full context in which the data was gathered. It's a time-consuming process, but there are reasons why the government needs to protect those sources and methods so that we don't put them at risk. He's asked about the drones, which he says reports of mysterious drones over New Jersey and elsewhere sparked a lot of public interest and discussion, and I'm sure your AARo colleagues are paying close attention. What is his take on that situation? He says misidentification does not account for a number of UAP sightings. AARo has been working on educational materials about common misunderstandings, such as Starlink flaring, as we call it, or phenomena such as parallax. We're sharing that with the public so they can understand what they are looking at. Specifically, with the New Jersey incidents, none of those were reported to AARo as being anomalous. Certainly, many of them were identified, whether they were drones or airplanes or other objects. They weren't behaving in a way that was unidentified by the people at the time as being anomalous, so we didn't take any lead on those investigations. But we were in contact with a number of federal organizations offering our support. Do you have any advice for true believers who are convinced that aliens are visiting Earth's skies? I don't have advice per se. I don't want to be the thought police. I think everyone is welcome to approach this topic however they like. As I came into this subject, however, I tried to approach it without bias in either direction. I'm open to any possibility. Sometimes an unusual event is just a sensor artifact, sometimes just a balloon. We do have some events in our holdings that are really peculiar, and I don't know yet what's behind those. But because we don't know what's behind them, we can also attribute them to anything in particular, and that includes extraterrestrial sources. And this is actually the last one. They said, any closing thoughts on your primary objective for AARo, and how do you feel about the big daunting question, are we alone? He said, I'm impatient. Being a data scientist, I'm also a data hog. I want more data. I want it quicker so we can get to the heart of these problems. It boils down to ask ourselves, what type of data is it going to take to prove to the scientific community beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is an anomalous phenomenon that was not a sensor artifact and is indeed something truly peculiar? And I feel that's going to require multiple sensors gathering the same event from different perspectives at the same time. My goal is for AARo to be able to enhance our national security by increasing domain awareness, ensuring that we understand everything that is operating in space, in the air, and maritime environments, as well as those transmedium objects, UAPs that seemingly slip between, say, the sky and the sea. I think it's plausible that there's life out there. I haven't seen the substantial evidence I need to convince me that extraterrestrial life has found its way to Earth as of yet, but I'm open to anything. All right, let's just say this about this guy. His bedside manner is 1,000 times better than Sean Kirkpatrick, who, no matter what you asked him, seemed like he was always on the defensive. Hey, why is the sky blue? The sky's not blue. It's red and black. No, it's pretty blue. Who says? Who said that? We don't have any evidence of that. What are you talking about? I get back to my my castle in Weselton. This guy is giving the company answers. He's given the things, but he's not making people feel like they're on a crazy train if you believe something else. He said, I'm open to everything right now. It does make me wonder two things, though, in general, right? The first is that AARo realized we can't have a guy like Sean Kirkpatrick being the guy who's speaking for us. He's not good with people. He's not good out there in general talking. People don't trust us because of him. We need a company guy, and we need somebody who's going to basically do what we tell him to do, but he's going to give good answers in the meantime. But the other thing that he said that I think makes a lot of sense, I don't think anybody really argues with. They have to be very careful in the stuff that they do disclose, because if it's stuff that threatens national security, like group text chains and whatnot, that's a problem. So I think that him saying those things, you go, okay, sure. The second thing it makes me realize is I don't know how much AARo really knows. You know what I mean? Like how much they're really privy to. When it comes to these other places that we know, we think, whether it's the Lockheed Martins and the other people who really have a hold on this topic and have the actual materials and all, it's so outside. It's like it's a separating government almost, you know? It's like what people say, deep state and all that shit. But like it seems like it's just they're not working in the confines of this government. And then if AARo's knocking on the door, we haven't seen anything, because it's almost like they go, hey, AARo's here again. It's like Tony Soprano in the FBI comes to his house. They know the drill. They know what they're going to do. Okay, great. Yeah, check up there, check there. Yeah, I don't get any money. Go, you want some coffee? Great. And AARo's gone now. Great. Yeah, we got to let him do a thing. And I mentioned this on the video the other day. It also shows how NASA has no clue either, because, or if they do, they're really, shady with when the one dude, the older gentleman who was asked a question by James Fox about David Grush, and he's like, oh, is that the guy who heard from a friend of his? And it's like, did you watch any of that hearing? And if the answer is no, shouldn't you have as the head of NASA? So, and there's also probably a lot that he does know that he can't say. And it is also very intriguing in the beginning of this thing where, well, the first part is it the fact that we have figured out how to manipulate time and space in a way, and a lot of people do feel this way, that's all the stuff that you see is just us. It's our stuff, things that we've been able to work the last however many years. The counter is that is, how the hell did you get that stuff? It plays more into the David Grush testimony of in reverse engineering programs. So I will say it is a positive. I know the guy's a company man. I know that he is, just another guy they put there to give the answers that they want to be put out there. But it is a positive that they're encouraging. They have had this site where you can upload stuff and put stuff out there, and they'll look at it and those things. But do I think that they're actually trying to fight for real disclosure? No, I don't. But I do think that this guy is a better guy to have out there talking for you if you do want people to actually, because the main test is, here comes a whistleblower. They go, okay, I'll talk to this guy and let's see. And let's say that they give them enough information and they actually act on it, and AARo does something where they're actually acting towards it and not suppressing it, then they can change the tide, but we'll see. What say you? What do you think about these thoughts? These questions, these answers? Put your thoughts out there. Tell me what you think. As always, thank you for being here. If you want to join and be a member today, you can do that. I've also been telling people all week about Brunt footwear. Man, oh man. I got the hat on right now. Love this hat. And the boots are just really, really comfortable. So I'll tell you about them, and I'll see you guys real soon. Thanks. It's been cold in New York, and it's rainy, and, moving from California to New York, you got to deal with that weather change. And thank God I have better boots now. I had crap boots. It was the worst because it was just hurting my feet all day long. They were getting wet. It wasn't the best. So what I love now is I have these Brunt work boots. They sent them to me, and my God, they're really, really comfortable. I couldn't believe how they were so comfortable, like right out of the box. Normally you got to break them in a little bit. I just feel like it didn't take that long to break in. I was walking down the block with them. I was like, they just fit on really easily. I was surprised because normally it takes me a little bit. And these, not so much. Really comfortable. They also deliver on protection and durability, which is really great. So take a look at these. Those are the ones I got right there. They're black, nice. They're amazing. Lightweight, waterproof, they're slip and oil resistant, they're heat resistant, electrical, hazard rated. It's great. You're going to love them. So you can finally have durable work boots that are comfortable as your sneakers. You got to join over 500,000 other customers. That's right. Brunt lets you try the boots on the job risk-free, and all the products have free shipping. It's not just about work boots. They offer a full range of high-performance gear built for tough jobs. From heavy-duty work pants to weather-resistant jackets, Brunt designs durable, reliable workwear to keep you protected and productive in any condition. They sent me this black hat. I wear it all the time, whether it's at the gym, whether I'm going to a movie premiere, whatever it might be, I am wearing this hat. Brunt didn't just make a durable work boot, they reinvented comfort for the hardest workers out there. Now, for a limited time, our listeners get $10 off at Brunt. You got to use that code DTE at checkout. Head on over to bruntworkwear.com. Use that code DTE. You're all set. Even better, Brunt lets you try all their products on the job risk-free. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. You got to support our show and tell them that our show sent you. Brunt.